Welcome back. I'm joined live now with Inspector Lawrence Cargyle. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we started our show talking about a fire. It's something we've been hearing almost every day. I have a police scanner and a fire scanner right by my office, so we hear it very frequently.
Right.
And a lot of these things are preventable. So he is here to kind of tell us some tips on how to prevent him from coming to your house because of a fire. So let's start. It's the holiday times. A lot of people celebrate Christmas and they have Christmas trees. However, a lot of them are flammable and they don't know how to keep them from catching on fire. So what are some things people can do to enjoy the tree and not have it be a safety hazard?
Well, even though Christmas tree fires aren't that common, when they do happen, they're a lot more likely to be severe because of the conditions in the home. So there's three things that you should really consider when getting a Christmas tree. The first one is picking a tree. You want to make sure that it's fresh, it's not dried out or anything. And you also want to make sure that that when you place the tree, you place it in a safe place in your home. Make sure that it's at least 3 feet away from anything flammable or any heat source. And also make sure that you keep it watered on a daily basis. And then when lighting the tree, you want to make sure that you use lights that are actually approved for that.
Gotcha. Another thing that's way more common is cooking.
Absolutely.
People cook, they've got guests over, friends, family returning for the holidays, and they get distracted. They get distracted, something catches on fire, next thing you know, poof, the whole kitchen is ablaze. So how can people remember, one, not to leave the kitchen, or what do we do so that we don't catch our kitchen on fire?
Right. Well, something that my Chief Burns, likes to suggest is that if you have to leave the kitchen, make sure that you take a utensil with you, such as a spatula or a large spoon. That may sound unconventional, but the reasoning behind that is that if you step out and get distracted, then eventually you'll realize that you have that with you and it's from the kitchen, and your mind will remember that you have something cooking on the stove. So that's a good way to get back to that. And also, we actually have reported cases where that's helped people remember. But you can also set a cooking timer for 5 to 10 minutes, and that'll remind you as well.
Another thing we see, we actually have video from earlier this week we're going to show right now. Now, this particular example was an electrical short, but this house went up in flames. The family unfortunately lost everything they own. But things like this can happen around the holidays, and a lot of people can tend to be distracted and not pay attention. The reason we want to point this out is because being distracted can actually cost you your whole house and all of your belongings. So what are some things that people just, it sounds like common sense, but if it was common, everyone would do it and y'all wouldn't have these problems, because you see a lot of fires that are preventable. What would you say the #1 thing that people can do to make sure they don't do a mindless error that catches their house on fire?
Well, the biggest thing is just to really remember that, really just pay attention to what you're doing. Like you said, grease fires, cooking fires are the #1 cause of fires. Something that you can do to prevent that, you can't really prevent accidents because you can't predict them. But something you can do is if you're using a particular size pot on the stove, then you can take out a lid that fits that pot. So if something flares up, then you can immediately place the lid over it.
So we shouldn't throw water on it?
No.
Or baking soda, because we've heard all kind of things of what to throw in a grease fire.
Right. Some people can actually get confused by what to throw on the fire because it's in the heat of the moment, and they could actually potentially throw something flammable on the fire, causing a worse problem.
Gotcha. So put the lid on it if we can. All right. Well, stay tuned. We have much more coming up right after the break. Welcome back. I'm joined with Albany Fire Department Inspector Lawrence Cargyle. We were talking about fire safety and how to prevent accidents this holiday season. So we just finished talking about Christmas tree safety and cooking safety. Now, I'm a little premature here, but we have New Year's coming up. A lot of people like to enjoy fireworks. Now, I've always been told the safest way to keep out of harm's way is just to attend a fireworks show and not mess with them. However, if you're going to go to one of those peaches and fireworks stops, you're going to buy them, give us some fire safety tips as far as fireworks go.
Well, basically, something to think about is that most of the injuries that happen are with children between the ages of 5 and 14. So these can definitely be prevented by just keeping an eye on your kids. You definitely don't want to leave any child unattended with fireworks. Also, parents should never allow their kids to pick up or play with fireworks that they consider to be used up already or dead fireworks.
And why is that?
Well, the main reason behind this is because that there is a possibility they could still be active. They may not have discharged properly the first time around. And if that's the case, then when the child actually picks that firework up, or whoever does, then it could injure that person.
Another thing we want to point out is that, and I have a graphic up right now on it, the sparkler tip of those fun little sparklers we all think are awesome
Right.
burns at 1,200 degrees.
Yeah, I've been asked if sparklers were safe, and the short answer for that is no. They're not really safe. I know we've all probably played with them as kids,
Yeah.
but think about it this way. Wood burns at 575 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Glass actually melts at 900 degrees Fahrenheit.
Melts.
Melts.
Glass melts.
So
okay.
with the sparkler burning at 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit, there's more than enough heat there to cause really bad third-degree burns and send somebody to the emergency room.
And that's not just for kids. An adult can get seriously hurt by that too.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know that even though we're giving this good advice right now, some people are still going to go out and play with sparklers. The question is, let's say this is a sparkler. When it's burning, at what point do you need to throw it down? Because some people will let it get right down to the very edge and then burn their fingertips.
There's usually actually a label on some of the boxes when you purchase them that'll let you know kind of what you should do, how you should treat those.
Okay.
I would say no more than halfway down, just because, you know, any more than that, you're kind of playing with your own fate.
Gotcha. Another thing we hear around the holidays, the temperature is dropping. Even though it's not snowing conditions, we're still dropping a little bit and getting cool. A lot of people like to use their ovens to heat their homes, and you guys say you should not do this.
Exactly.
Tell me why.
This is actually not safe for two reasons. The first reason is that an oven is not equipped with a thermostat that's actually designed to turn it off when the room gets a certain temperature.
Okay.
So it's gonna stay on until either you physically turn it off or something damages that unit and it turns itself off. The second reason it's not safe is if you have an electric oven. It's pulling a lot of electricity to actually heat the elements inside that oven. Well, if you leave it on for an extended period of time, it could potentially short those elements out, and that could cause an electrical fire, which we've seen a lot of. Also, if you have a gas oven uses a lot of gas, natural gas, in order to heat the elements up inside it. So if you leave it running for an extended period of time, then you're potentially pumping poisonous carbon monoxide gases into your home. And both of these situations and scenarios can be very dangerous and even fatal for you and your family.
So bad news all around. So overall, if you're cold, put on a jacket, pay your heat bill, but do not use your oven to heat your apartment or home. Now, if you need any tips, do you have a website or a phone number people can go to?
Well, a website that's really good that we use a lot for our public information is www.nfpa.org. And you can click on the pain safety information at the top of the page, and it'll give you all this information that I have here and a lot of other good tips.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it, and we hope